So in this video, we're going to learn how to add irrational numbers. So to explain the concept, I've taken a very simple example over here. So let's read through it. 3 root 2 plus 5 root 3 plus 6 root 2 plus 2 root 3. So how do we add irrational numbers? See, the rule for adding irrational number is we can only add those irrational numbers which have the same square root part. I repeat, we can only add those irrational numbers which have the same square root part. What I mean is that in this number which is the square root part, it is root 2. In this number which is the square root part, it is root 3. In this number which is the square root part, square root of 2. In this number which is the square root part, square root of 3. So we can only add root 2 to root 2 and root 3 to root 3. I repeat, that is, we can add these two numbers and we can add these two numbers. But we cannot add these two numbers or we cannot add these two numbers. So we can only add those numbers which have the same square root part. I repeat, we can only add those numbers which have the same square root part. Think of it in this way, that when we are learning algebraic expressions, we learn that we can add only like terms and not unlike terms. That is, we can add a x to a x, we can add a y to a y. But can we add a x and a y? No. We cannot simplify this. X plus x, 2x, y plus y, 2y. What is x plus y? We cannot do it. Same thing over here. So we can add only those numbers which have the same square root terms, but we cannot add those numbers which have a different square root terms. Right? Just like the analogy with the algebraic expressions, we can add only like terms, we cannot add unlike terms. So whenever you want to add irrational numbers, you can only add those irrational numbers which have the same square root part. So here we have root 2, here we have root 2. So we can add these two numbers. Similarly, here we have root 3, here we have root 3. So we can add these two numbers. So let me rub this off and let me simplify this. So let's begin. So the first step is bring all those terms which have the same square root together. So let's bring these two terms together. So we have 3 root 2 plus 6 root 2 plus 5 root 3 plus 2 root 3. Right? So bring those terms together which have the same square root part. Now what is 3 root 2 plus 6 root 2? Think of it in this way. Take root 2 as x. So what is 3x plus 6x? It is 9x. So 9 root 2. Similarly, take root 3 as y. So what is 5y plus 2y? 7y. So 7 root 3. Right? That is, when you have the same square root, simply add these numbers. 3 plus 6, 9, and copy the root. Similarly here, same square root over here. So add 5 plus 2, 7, copy the root 3. So the answer is 9 root 2 plus 7 root 3. Right? So it's very, very simple. All you have to remember is you can only add those numbers which have the same square root part. Let me take another example to make this very clear. Let's say we have 4 root 5 plus 2 root 3 plus 3 root, let's say 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2 plus 5 root 3 plus root 5. Right? This is what we have. So we want to add these irrational numbers. So what is the first step? Bring all those irrational numbers together which have the same square root part. So begin with the first number. 4 root 5. Which number has a root 5? This number has a root 5. So plus root 5. Right? What is the next number? 2 root 3. So plus 2 root 3. Now look for a number with root 3. Here we have a root 3. So plus 5 root 3. Next, 3 root 2. Look for another number with root 2. 2 root 2. So the first step is bring all those numbers together which have the same square root. Now it's very simple. 4 root 5 plus root 5. What is the number over here? No number means 1. 4 plus 1 is 1. So this is 5 root 5. Think of it in this way. 4x plus x. So 4x plus x is 5x. Hence 5 root 5. 2 root 3 plus 5 root 3. 2 plus 5, 7. Copy the root. Root 3 plus 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Copy the square root. Root 2. So the answer is 5 root 5 plus 7 root 3 plus 5 root 2. Right? So this is how you add irrational numbers. So it's very simple. All you have to remember is you can only add those numbers which have the same square root. So first step, bring all those numbers which have the same square root together and then simply add them. That is 4 plus 1, 5, copy the root 5. 2 plus 5, 7, copy the square root 3. 3 plus 2, 5, copy the square root 2. Similarly here, 3 plus 6, 9, root 2. 5 plus 2, 7, root 3. So this is how you add irrational numbers.